Hey y'all, happy Saturday morning rant. I'm trying to get out this parking space and this motherfucker is blocking me. Don't get mad at me, you blocking me in this motherfucking parking spot. What the fuck you want me to do? Anyway, happy Saturday morning rant. Look, this motherfucker, come on, move the fuck up. Okay, well, I'm out of the parking spot. Happy Saturday morning rant. What I want to talk about today, I don't want to talk about my quote. I don't want to talk about my quote. I don't want to talk about people stealing my quote. I know y'all got the message. Talked about that in the last couple of rants. A lot of y'all are like, yo, I didn't know it was your quote. I'm going to make sure I give you credit. A lot of y'all was like, yo, I heard a lot of people using your quotes without giving you credit. Some of y'all was like, yo, I'm sitting in a room right now. This bitch is using your quote. I appreciate that, but that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about my quote. I want to talk about like the history of the quote and the history of this work. So like people closest to the problem, closest to the solution, but furthest from power and resources wasn't just like some shit I made up, like the way y'all write a book or some shit and be like, yo, that's my book. It was because the movement needed somebody to push it, because it was a lot of people who wasn't directly impacted leading the work. And I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna like build a new hospital emergency room without talking to patients? Like, what the fuck? Like, at what point do people directly impacted by these issues get some airplay and get to be part of the part of the solution, and also part of the resources and part of the decision making? So there's some history behind that shit. And so when I say I want to own my quote, part of it is, yeah, motherfucker, it's my words. I want to own my quote. But part of it is like, in some ways, I'm not mad at people who steal my shit, because there's mediocre people everywhere you go. There's people who ain't never come up with a new idea in their entire fucking lives, and they steal other people's shit. It's a very capitalist approach, and you know, we shouldn't be surprised that in nonprofit people use some of the same tools they use in capitalism, because honestly, we're all funded by philanthropy, and philanthropy is the sort of afterbirth of capitalism. I mean, people save money on their taxes by opening foundations, and then y'all come begging for those resources, and you go to the government for permission to run a nonprofit. So like, I'm not surprised that capitalist approaches creep their way into nonprofit, including stealing people's ideas, making it your own, packaging it, selling it, and using it to build your career. I'm actually not all that mad at that, because in some ways, I'm a capitalist. I think y'all know that. Like, I think black and brown and poor people need money in their pocket. Y'all could be anti-capitalist and talk all this shit, but like, can I make some motherfucking money first so we can make that decision together, is my position. So I ain't mad. And if I ain't mad at capitalism, then I shouldn't be mad at some of the things that people do in capitalism, creeping into nonprofit, and then me being like a victim of that shit. Because like, honestly, on the real estate side of my life, which is what gives me the resources to tell y'all to fuck off, like, people do that shit all the time, and I would argue I do it. Like, I'm pretty cutthroat when I'm trying to close a deal on a house. You know, I buy from these white boys that own like 2,000 houses, and I'm constantly trying to strategize on how to cut their throat and get their property from them for less than I'm supposed to pay for it. So, not surprised about the capitalism, not surprised about it creeping into nonprofit, not surprised about some of these leaders out there stealing my shit and making it their own and building their career and putting it on a motherfucking t-shirt and telling funders they came up with it and all that. Not surprised. That ain't what bothers me about that. Like, people steal not just my quote, people literally steal whole ass ideas from me, projects, whatever, orgs, you name it. Like, people are fucking thieves, and people who have never created shit will steal your shit. That's happened to me. That's happened to me over and over in nonprofit. Y'all just don't want to say it out loud, because we all supposed to be loving and kind and caring, and we hug and we kiss. No better way to stab a motherfucker in the back than to give them a hug, because they're not gonna see it coming. So like, I get it, but let's be honest, that shit happens, and it's happened to me, and it is what it is, and whatever, you know. But at the same time, let's also have a conversation about like what I'm really upset about. What I'm upset about is y'all motherfuckers in the audience clapping. That's what I'm upset about. Why am I upset about that? Because, like, I be meeting with a lot of y'all. We be grabbing coffee. We be having dinner. We be having lunch. We be just kicking it. We smoke a cigar together. We have a drink together. I don't really drink. That just sounds like some growing up shit. But y'all get what the fuck I'm saying. And what do y'all tell me? Y'all be like, yo, this space is fucking awful. People are coming for me. People don't treat me well. I can't believe I'm trying to do good work and people are accusing me of shit. People are trying to marginalize me, cancel me, push me out. So y'all know. And y'all know it's a small handful of people that's gatekeepers doing this shit. And people at the bottom, I get it. They're frustrated, so they do it too. But y'all know it's also kind of systematic. There's a group of people trying to stay in power. And then y'all be going to their conferences and going to their gatherings and going to their galas and going to their events and seeing them up on stage, like literally owning my shit. And then you will text me about that shit. You will call me. You will email me. You'll hit me up on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever the fuck, TikTok. And at the same time, like, y'all can't just say to them, yo, that's Glenn's shit. Because y'all know what? I would have did that shit for you. That's one thing, like, I would have did that shit for y'all. That's just who the fuck I've always been. Even without fuck you money. Even without fuck you, I've always been a person like what's right is right and what the fuck is wrong is wrong. And it's not that I've never fucked some shit up, but one thing I'll never fuck up is having somebody steal somebody else's shit. Because I know as a formerly incarcerated person that if you go to prison, they take away everything. Your identity, your money, your resources, your house, your car, everything. They will sink you so deep in a fucking hole that it'll be almost impossible for you to climb the fuck back out. But you know what they can't take? Your fucking mind and your ideas and your intellect and your gifts and your talent. Like, you can't take that away. So that's the only thing human beings get to really own. And you got all these people in this criminal justice reform movement who only been here for a hot minute. Some of y'all been here for a long time, but like just stealing my shit, making it theirs. And not just my shit, there's other people. Y'all know other people have been pushed out. I ain't the only one that's been pushed out. A lot of people have been pushed out. But at the same time, like, y'all know there's people. And I know, like, y'all want to go to the conferences. Like, they paid for your travel. I get it. They paid for your travel. Or they giving you a little $444.63 to show up. I get that. Like, I know. I remember when I was broke. I remember at the beginning of this fucking work where, like, I was getting paid $16,000 a year. Like, if somebody would have offered me $484.16 to show up at a conference and shake my head yes, I don't know, I might have did that shit too, but I know I wouldn't have let them say that some shit that didn't belong to them belonged to them. Never. So that's what's kind of bothering me. Like, it doesn't hurt my feelings when my enemies treat me like shit. It hurts my feelings when people who say they give a fuck about me don't stand up when I'm not in the room. Like, that's what friendship is about. Friendship is about standing the fuck up for people when they're not around. I don't need you to stand up for me when I'm there. I don't give a fuck. I'm not scared of much. If I'm there, I can stand up for myself. But if I'm not in a room and somebody's pimping out my shit, like, you got to stand the fuck up. Don't come back and tell me. It's not like I'm going to pick up the phone and call the person and be like, oh, I heard that you had my quote in your PowerPoint, or I heard that you put my quote in your book. And people keep saying, yo, you should copyright it, you should copyright it. No, I shouldn't. I'm not going to the fucking government to get them to fucking tell me I can tell people stop using my shit. I'm going to tell you, stop using my shit. I'm from the fucking streets. I'm telling you to your fucking face. Stop using my shit. Stop using my shit. And I know there's like a handful of y'all. It ain't even a lot of people. Like, I think, what, the Super 8 y'all call yourselves. How the fuck is there millions of people come home from prison every year and y'all got the nerve to get together and call yourself the Super 8? Because I know what that shit is about. That shit is about y'all trying to control the resources. There ain't no fucking 8 people that got no motherfucking premium on what the ideas are in this space. Fuck out of here. I've heard good ideas from people that have been home for a week, and I heard bad ideas from people that have been home for 20 years. Super 8. Fuck out of here. Y'all know who the fuck I'm talking about. I don't call people out because it's just not who I am. I don't like that cancel culture shit. There's only one motherfucker in this field who I call out. That's Gabriel Sayer. He's a piece of shit white boy. I can't believe y'all continue to let that motherfucker live and steal resources. He's a piece of shit. But, like, I don't get this piece about y'all, like, allowing people to do the shit they be doing. And just because y'all feel like y'all not in leadership or you scared of losing your job and everything, you're not going to speak up. Because why the fuck would you want to be part of a movement where you can't speak up about some shit that you don't appreciate anyway? Like, who the fuck are you? Like, what do you do before you close your eyes at night? Like me, I look at the ceiling and I ask myself, did I do the right thing today? And the answer's not always yes, but goddamn, if it's no too long, I gotta fucking figure out something different, do something different. That's all I'm saying. But that ain't all the fuck I want to rant about today, because that ain't even the only thing I wanted to talk about. I actually wanted to talk about, oh, I know what I want to talk about. It kind of ties together. So in the beginning, there wasn't formerly incarcerated people leading the movement. There was all sorts of people that were well-intentioned, many of them. Some people just trying to make some good money. But directly impacted people wasn't part of the conversation. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? And other people was like, yo, what the fuck? And so we did our best to get us included. Great, we won. Take yes for an answer, bitch. We did it. But what we didn't anticipate was a small handful of people running organizations, running programs, running campaigns, running initiatives that are creating these little speaker bureaus. I get it, speaker bureaus, you trying to help a motherfucker make a little bit of money. But let's be honest about what you actually doing. And let me demystify this shit for people who have never led an organization. You're going to foundations and you're trying to raise a couple of $1 million. And then you're carving out 30 grand. And 15 formerly incarcerated people are getting like $1,000 or $2,000 to speak somewhere. And you're getting the bulk of it. But what you're really doing is saying to the foundation, like, you ain't got to worry about these other niggas. I got you. Like, you give us the money and we'll find the good formerly incarcerated people and we'll give them money so that they could do some public speaking or so that they could show up at meetings. And then the narrative publicly is going to be that we're the heroes for formerly incarcerated people and we're the ones making sure that they get money for going to meetings and going to conferences and going to like research conversations and planning meetings and all that. And y'all might be like, well, ain't that a win, Glenn? Motherfucker gets $1,000, $2,000. One, y'all heard what I said, right? Like, people will raise a couple of million and carve out 40 or 50,000 for that shit. In some ways, that's how nonprofits operate. It's just insidious that now directly impacted people, formerly incarcerated people, are doing the same fucking thing. But here's the flip side of it. Here's the other part that's really much more insidious. We built a movement of formerly incarcerated people because we recognized that there were people who were well-intentioned or not that were building shit that we thought didn't make any bit of fucking sense. Like, didn't match what we wanted to see in the world, wasn't as ambitious as we would like to have seen, didn't really meet the needs of the people who we knew and we met in prison, didn't meet our own needs when we came out of prison. And we were like, yeah, nah, y'all can't do that this way. But now, those very same people still exist. They ain't go nowhere. Some of them left, but their kids are here. There's young people coming up. There's other people. Like, there's still those kinds of people in the movement. But now all they got to do is pick up the phone and call one of you motherfuckers and be like, oh, I'm going to give you $1,000 delivered to formerly incarcerated people to help me check the motherfucking litmus test of legitimacy by being able to say, of course this program makes sense. Formerly incarcerated people were involved in the planning, in the thinking, in the implementation. Except because y'all are sending any old formerly incarcerated folks to help check that box, like, they get to move forward the same bullshit that we had a problem with 20-something years ago. And I know some of y'all don't give a fuck. And you don't give a fuck because you care about your own salary. You don't give a fuck because you don't understand the history of the movement. You don't give a fuck because you ain't the one that got to be subject to whatever those policies or practices are. Why am I thinking about all this? Because I just spent time with organizations that are doing some shit that I've never seen nobody else in this space do. And they're doing it with formerly incarcerated people. And one, they're not yelling and screaming about doing it with directly impacted people. They just not. They just doing it. People who used to be unhoused. That's the right term now, right? I can't say homeless. Unhoused. I don't want to get canceled again. And they doing it with people who used to be incarcerated. And they doing it with people who used to be addicted to drugs. And they got those people in all levels of leadership, front line, all the way up to the top. All the way up to the top. And they not out yelling and screaming about it. Because why? Because they know there's a lot of other organizations out there doing some bullshit that's causing harm and just banging that drum about formerly incarcerated people being on staff. Meanwhile, those formerly incarcerated people, the people that y'all are out there raising $2 million to give them $500 and then pushing them out front, knowing that the only thing they bring to the table is their formerly incarcerated experience, which is important. But if that's all they got, that shit ain't enough. And I ain't mad at them because they trying to put some money in their pocket. I remember I needed to do that when nonprofit was paying me $16,000 a year 24 years ago. But y'all are fucking irresponsible. And Mandela knew this shit, that literally oppressed people, when they get some power, they become the oppressor. And you're literally doing all the same shit that led to the reason we built a movement in the first place. But now that insidious shit is being led by black and brown people, or poor white people, previously poor white people, who are directly impacted, who are now showing up like the very fucking people they said shouldn't be leading the movement. So now you leading it, but you doing the same shit. So that's the fuck I want to talk about today. Like, that's some bothersome shit that now, 25 years later, the movement has come full fucking circle, and y'all got formerly incarcerated people on your little speakers bureau that you're serving up, that you're not investing in enough, that literally don't even realize that they're signing off on policies and practices that's going to create the next generation of mass incarceration. Prove to me I'm wrong. Prove to me I'm fucking wrong. And part of it is like, people who haven't been in the movement long enough, when they hear people directly impacted need to be leading the work, you know what they think? That we should build a movement of just formerly incarcerated people. I know some of y'all gonna disagree with me on this shit, but that's some dumb shit. That's some dumb shit. Like, some of y'all think if you're not formerly incarcerated, you can't be involved in the movement. What? Some of y'all think if you're not formerly incarcerated and black, you can't be in the movement. What? Some of y'all think if you're not formerly incarcerated and black or brown, you can't be in the movement. What? Some of y'all, if you're not formerly incarcerated and black or brown and a woman, you can't be in the movement. What? Some of y'all are like, if you're not formerly incarcerated and black or brown and a woman and used to be homeless, you can't be in the movement. What? Some of y'all, if you're not formerly incarcerated and black or brown and a woman and used to be homeless and used to be addicted, you can't be in the movement. What? You get what the fuck I'm saying, right? It's just fucking stupid. All you're doing is creating a bunch of fucking silos, and you literally are marginalizing people from the movement who could have been in the movement. I know I'm being repetitive with this shit, but I get so frustrated watching from the outside and seeing this stupid ass lack of strategy from people who call themselves leaders, but they're not really leaders. What they're doing is that they on the motherfucking circuit, they on the philanthropy circuit, they rocking the rest of y'all to sleep. As long as they can get 500 of y'all to show up in an auditorium, they can convince the funders that they're the ones that are in control of the formerly incarcerated folks, or the directly impacted folks, or just the motherfucking loud folks. And so that the money should come to them, and that is what the movement should look like. That's a dumb movement. A movement of only people directly impacted will never work. Not in a fucking democracy. And even if you don't believe this is a democracy and it's just a representative democracy, or it's a fucked up shit show and it's moving in the wrong direction, it still has elements of a democracy. And in any democracy, you're not just going to convince the world to do something different by having one small constituency of people saying they should do it. People got to see themselves in the movement, and there's all these people out here with resources that could be leveraged for change. And why the fuck would you leave that on the table? I don't know if I've said enough today, but I think I've sort of gotten off my chest what I want to get off my chest before I head back to motherfucking Vegas and try my luck on the slot machines. That's what I got for y'all today. I don't know if I want to add anything to that. I guess I'm going to just leave it right there and say that there's so many other things I could be fired up about, but this idea of, like, full circle 25 years later, build a whole motherfucking movement for it only to be led by a bunch of people who actually don't even know the history of it, don't understand the strategy of it. I don't get it. Like, I don't fucking take a piss without a strategy. I don't get how y'all ain't got no fucking strategy except to increase your income. Like, literally, you got whole ass organizations, millions of dollars, and the whole fucking thing is about your income and your title. That's so fucked up, actually. So fucked up, because there's so many people out there that don't have any resources, that don't have any access, that are literally relying on your ass to use scarce resources to try to give them back their liberty, and you're out there wielding entire fucking organizations built on other people's intellectual property to increase your motherfucking salary and your title. So because you have all this trauma of being poor, because you have all this trauma of being directly impacted, because you haven't dealt with that trauma, and because the best way for you to overcome your trauma is to just diminish somebody else's light, because you think diminishing somebody else's light is going to make yours shine brighter. That's never worked for anybody. Fuck out of here. Now I'm done. Don't let nobody steal your rainbow. I'm going to see y'all when I get back from Vegas next week. Peace.